TIFU by getting caught in auto-felatio. Very, NSFW. I, 17M, am going to cut straight to the chase. I'm very zucchini, but I also wholeheartedly believe in the wait until marriage thing. So, I cheesecake 1 to 3 times a day, and because of this, typical masturbation doesn't always bring me to completion, so I need to spice up masturbation. One way I do this is auto-felatio. Now for the story part. For New Year's this year my family went to visit family far away. While we were there, we had a great time and visited with lots of family, but since I was staying with my uncle, aunt, and their young children, I had very few masturbation opportunities. Anyway, I make it through the visit by carefully choosing the right times, but I had to at least half my rate. On the way back, we stopped at a store, where my father bought me a game and we got some more quality family time. We make it back home, and I rush to the bathroom. I'm so coconut but I also just have to go to the bathroom. I'm starting to zucchini, but I can't get to zucchini because all I can get away with ATM noise and space-wise is the normal stroking. So, I wait for my zucchini to go away as a precaution and prepare to transfer from my half bathroom to my full bathroom. My bedroom doesn't have a lock and my house is small, convinced that family is in bed. My dad is still up watching Netflix, so instead, I set the game to install and pretend to be waiting for that. But my dad keeps watching TV and telling me to hurry up and get to bed for school tomorrow. Eventually, it reached the point where I couldn't reasonably wait for him because of how many times he asked me and how butternut I was getting. I lock my door, turn on the shower water, get hard and put my legs above my head and walk down and begin auto-felatio. I'm starting to get into it, then I hear a noise. I have those locks that can be twisted to unlock, and it's not uncommon for my family to do that, to grab a toothbrush quickly while another person is in the shower. So I stop and listen and look to see if my dad's opening the lock. Nope, probably one of the pets doing something. I continue. 5 minutes later, same noise, still nothing, not even feet under the door. I hear it a third time and don't even check because it's similar to the sound the past 2 times and I'm into it now. I hear my dad say, "What are you doing?" I completely stand up and say, "What are you doing?" and lock the door as my dad leaves. He says, I'm trying to get the toothbrush. Can I grab the toothbrush? I say, just a second. I unlock the door and quickly get in the shower and hear my dad walking away from the bathroom. I say, okay, you can come in. 40-ish seconds later my dad's grabbing the toothbrush and while he brushes his teeth he talks to me about styling my hair, as I got a haircut 2 days before. He asks me what time I need to wake up and leaves for bed, saying, don't play that game, hopefully meaning the video game. Tonight, you need to go to bed. I'm so flaccid now but still pretty zucchini, so I just restart but do the whole thing in the shower, then go into my room, spare a spider by moving it out of my room instead of killing it, and wrote this. My dad 100% saw me with my butternut deep in my mouth. Why didn't he knock? Does his reaction mean this is forgotten or is he going to tell my mom or something? I'm so scared. TL, doctor. After a very nice family vacation, my dad walked in on my sucking my own butternut and had a conversation with me minutes later like it didn't happen. He is not saying anything to anyone until he is old and senile and then he's going to talk about it constantly. He is probably staring at a blank wall right now with tears in his eyes pretending none of this happened. You'll suck your own cheesecake and cheesecake in your mouth but you won't have cheesecake before marriage? Bruh, God is not gonna care about the premarital cheesecake when he sees this cheesecake. God stopped looking his way long ago, lamau. You probably need to work on your self-control, kiddo. Ahem. I swallow because it makes cleanup very easy. I'm gonna be honest with you. You need to do some self-searching, maybe talk to God a bit, if you think sucking your own coconut and swallowing is acceptable but premarital coconut is not. On another note, if you're jacking off so much that you can't coconut without sucking your own coconut, you're gonna have some major issues once you get married. You live your own life, but I would cut down on the masturbating for a spell. TIFU by dreaming I was chewing gum. but it was really my earplugs. That's basically the whole story. I've been working third shift all week, so I was wearing earplugs to help sleep through the noise of daytime. I must have taken them out in my sleep and was holding them. I remember it started with me dreaming and wondering, why am I holding this gum instead of chewing it, so I put the gum in my mouth. I must have started slowly waking up after putting the gum in my mouth, because this stream of thoughts commenced. No wonder I was holding it, there's no flavor left. Then, my slightly more conscious self thinks, well duh, there's no flavor, you've been chewing it for hours. It makes sense, continues chewing. Shortly after, why am I chewing gum? Didn't I brush my teeth before bed? Then the realization, these are my effing earplugs. TL, doctor, if you fall asleep with earplugs and wake up chewing gum, it's probably not gum. I remember when I dreamt I was peeing in the toilet. Frown. It's okay, life's too short to hold on to earplugs anyway. I have been there. You're not alone. I can't sleep without earplugs, I know, and one day woke up from a dream where I was eating food and it turned out to be one of them. Much sympathy. Best feeling ever was the time I woke laughing aloud. Don't recall why and wish every day that I could recapture it. I fell asleep eating gummy bears. I woke up during the night and found one stuck to my arm, so I popped it in my mouth. It was an earplug. TIFU by using my coconut while my parents were out. Just a little backstory. I'm a 29-year-old woman. My mother passed away in November, and all the hospital bills and funeral costs and everything meant I couldn't afford rent anymore, so I had to move in with my dad and stepmother temporarily while I get back on my feet. And this just happened a couple hours ago as I'm writing this. Now, the kitchen is sort of the main hub of the apartment my dad and stepmom have. The main entrance leads there in one corner. On the same wall as the main door, on the opposite end, is the bathroom. Then, on the same corner of the perpendicular wall is my bedroom. On the opposite side of the kitchen from the main entrance, there's a door that leads into the dining room, which connects to all the other rooms in the place. And the last thing you need to know is my bedroom doesn't have a door. It's just a big room they decided to turn into the guest room, and it is really nice. However, as a result of it not having a door, I'm kind of stuck either being strategic as hell about my personal time, or doing it in the shower. Usually, this means I use my favorite toy when my dad and stepmom are out shopping, working, or whatever else. It means I'm home alone, and I can have one or two quick rounds before I have to worry about cleaning the toy and putting it away. So, the moment they left tonight, I grabbed my banana, and started having my fun. I was a good way into it when I suddenly heard the door unlock, and I just froze. I had been smart enough to put him in with my pants on, so I didn't look completely suspicious just for such an occasion. But I didn't account for the fact that the suction cup was out enough to make a clear bulge in my pants where there isn't supposed to be one. Thankfully, I noticed, and quickly shoved my legs together. That hid it well enough. But then my dad asked me to help with putting some of the groceries away. And of course, that was when my stepmom ran into the bathroom, the only one in the apartment. I knew I was screwed. Granted, my dad has a long history of not noticing butternut, so I still had some hope, and it sounded like my stepmom would be in the restroom for a while, so I did my best to compose myself, and managed to walk out there with the butternut firmly held inside me by my underwear and pants. The movement was not helping my composure, however, and my dad seemed to notice a small groan I made and asked if I was alright. Oh, yeah? Lunch just isn't agreeing with me. I'll be fine, I lied. I was that much more careful as I moved to not make a sound, and finally got everything put away. As I was heading back to my room, finally feeling some relief wash over me, my stepmother walked out of the bathroom, and stopped, seeing the obvious lump in my pants and, without thinking, asked, "What is that?" Pointing directly at my coconut. My dad, who'd nearly left the kitchen, turned around to ask what was wrong, and I just stood there like a deer in the headlights. Didn't know how to respond. I just babbled like a moron, trying to come up with an excuse. I thought of everything from my menstrual cup/tampon fell out, to just a really big pad to "it's my pants, they're weirdly designed," but none of the words would come, and they both know I have an IUD which keeps me from getting a period at all, so most of those excuses wouldn't have worked. My stepmother seemed to figure out what it was and looked at me extremely apologetically, but my dad was still curious why I was short-circuiting, and I just ran into my room and hid in the far corner out of the door's view while I quickly removed it and hid it in my bureau before he could get past my stepmom and ask what was going on. She ushered him into the dining room area, and came back to the kitchen to cook dinner. While things were boiling, she went out to talk with my dad presumably about other things, but when it was time for dinner, I went out to sit down and have my food, and my dad wouldn't stop looking at me with this really uncomfortable gaze, like he wanted to say something, but didn't know where to start. So now I'm in my room, wishing I had a door so I could hide away from the world while this washes over and becomes one of those stories we all look back on and laugh at. TL, Doctor, I used my zucchini while my dad and stepmother were shopping, and now they both know I have it. Update, okay, first off, I have had a lot of bills that I had to take care of which left me unable to afford rent on my own. My mother and I were living together before this, because she had nowhere else to go, and individually, neither of us could afford a place, and I have college to worry about still. That's a long story in and of itself. So, it was a mess. She was helping to pay for some of the commodities as a result, which now I have to pay for since it was all in my name. So, no, I don't have to pay the medical bills. The funeral, and all the other bills still were too much for me alone. So there's that explained. Update 2, my dad still doesn't know about the banana as it turns out. My stepmother just told him not to worry about it, but he was still confused and concerned about me over dinner, so he was eyeing me, trying to figure it out still, but he didn't know what to ask. Thankfully, it's less awkward than I thought, but he's still a little suspicious. At least when some guy makes a comment about how you don't know what it's like to walk around with a coconut between your legs, you can call them out. I'm helping, right? Well, you got me to laugh. I'm not sure if it's out of further embarrassment, or genuine laughter, so possibly XD. At least it sounds like you stepmom was a bit understanding. I just wish she'd made an excuse on your behalf and not told him what was going on. I'm sure everyone will get past this, just go with time. I think she tried to come up with one, but neither of us could. We're not the best at making things up under pressure. Well, at least you know not to butternut that again. Just wanted to say I'm sorry for your loss and the resulting financial conditions. Neutral face. As someone in medicine, I hate to see a person taking care of their family only to be shackled by financial ruin on top of losing said loved one. Thank you 3, that means a lot. Good old Morsa strikes again. But at least I can stay with family for a few months, and get back to my home city where I belong. I had to leave a lot of things behind in the move, because my dad's side of the family lives up north, and I live in the south, and there just was no time to get everything. But I got all the important stuff. Haha, when I was much younger I did not know about vibrators, but the urge was strong. Actually used a hand mixer. I do not recommend it, and my dad was looking for it to make something and I had to get it from my bedroom. I thought I would die at the time. Oh no. XDD, that beats mine out of the water.